When the proud Philistines for war declared, and Israel's sons for battle had prepared, before the heathen camp a monster stalked he, and awful frowning, in the valley walked he with hideous strides he traversed all the ground, and o'er the hills the country viewed around his brawny flesh, and his prodigious bones, bespoke him one of Anak's mighty sons. Death and defiance sat upon his brow, revenge and hell his glaring eyeballs show. Then his dire hand uplifted to the skies, thunder his voice, and lightning in his eyes, he cried aloud with such a dreadful sound, as shook the heavens, and rent the trembling ground. Attend, ye armies, Israel, hear, 'tis I despise your power, and all your hosts defy what? Not a man among you dares attempt the glorious fight, or urge the known event? His despicable flesh shall make a feast, for ravenous fowl, and each voracious beast behold. Concern and dire amaze appear through all the host, when they his accents hear, shuddering anxiety, and black despair, pale are their faces, in their hearts is dread, and panic terror o'er the field is spread. Ghastly confusion reigns, and not a knight dares undertake to think upon the fight. Now a young shepherd, David was his name, to see his brethren in the army, came but when Goliah's threatening words he heard, a generous anger in his looks appeared to Saul the king. His hasty footsteps go, and loud he claims for combat with the foe. Astonished ye chiefs, the daring challenge hear, and give consent. With wonder and with fear instant the blooming youth descends a brook, and in his shepherd's bag 5 pebbles took. He waits impatient, till his longing eyes, the gloomy giant issuing forth descries. With his tall plume high nodding in the skies he roared loud curses as he onward went, tortured the air, and shook the firmament. David undaunted heard the voice with smiles, and ran triumphant to the mighty spoils. Downward Goliah cast a careless glance, and saw the stripling on the ground advance as from some lofty tower. Tall men below across the streets like little puppets go. So looked he young David to Goliah's size, and, deep beneath, scarce reached he his lofty eyes sublime. The monster saw him with disdain, like a small insect ran along the plain at first. Collected in himself he stood, himself, an army, and his spear, a wood. His helmet like a fiery meteor shone, blazed high amidst the heavens. Another sun his flaming buckler with his arm did rise, streaked he rainbows on the clouds, and flashed he about the skies. Then, with uplifted roar, aloud he howls, and shakes all nature to the distant poles. What daring mortal this who treads the field, and thinks himself so small to be concealed? Hence, fly my rage, young stripling, quickly fly, or, by the gods, by Dagon, thou shalt die. This hand, rash youth, thy mangled carcass tears, and hurls thy scattered limbs above the stars. For birds and beasts, thy entrails spread the plains, and on the pavement smoke thy battered brains. Not all the powers above my wrath shall brave, thy God may pity, but he cannot save. Fearless, the hero heard the thundering peals drive through the rocks, and rattling round the hills. Disdain flashed he dreadful from his martial eyes, and thus aloud his dauntless tongue replies. Cease, empty vaunter, cease thy impious breath, this stone shall fly commissioned with thy death. Yours is the sword and spear you vainly boast, the victory's mine, for mine's the Lord of hosts. He said, then whirled his sling, the pebble flung, it flew impetuous, and triumphant sung, on his broad front it struck the warrior full, and death drove furious through his crashing skull. Down fell the mighty bulk, hills, fields and all, shook when he fell, and echoed to the fall in dust and blood a while his members roll. Then night eternal rushed he upon his soul, a length enormous in the plain he show apostrophe d. Like a vast island in a sea of blood,